Photo manipulation technology has been around for a long time. It's been possible to alter photos since the dawn of photography. But video manipulation is a relatively new phenomenon. I have been sitting on this tea for a very long time. Like, it was under my butt, so it's still pretty hot. But I wanted to wait until I had enough evidence so I could prove that this is really something that's happening under our noses. Have you ever been on Instagram and you're watching like a story or a video of your favorite influencer like James Charles or Nikita Dragon, and they look like amazing, but then you notice something odd, a glitch. They'll put their hands in front of their faces and then you see this, like, their face just kind of like glitches, and then they'll remove their hand and the face goes back to normal. That, my friends, is evidence that influencers are using video manipulation software. When I did my top 10 series on influencers who look nothing like their photos in real life, there were a lot of people in the comments saying that the influencers I called out look the way they do in their photos in videos. So there was no way they could be faking what they look like online, and I was just a hater and blah blah blah. No, darling, no. Watch this video of Nikita Dragon pulled by YouTuber Petty Page that Nikita posted on her story during the 2020 Grammys. Pay special attention to Nikita's nose. Did you see it? It was pretty fast, so here's the same clip slowed down and zoomed in. What you just witnessed is likely the work of an app called Snow. This app can change practically any of your facial features to fit what you want. You can make your nose thinner, your eyes bigger, your lips bigger, you can make your forehead smaller, your jaw more pronounced. But the problem with Snow is that it has facial recognition software. The minute your face is out of the frame, or there's something in front of your face like a hand that's preventing the software from recognizing a face, it's not gonna change anything, and the software is going to glitch. Here's another video of James Charles that was found by the YouTuber James Welsh.
He put his hands in front of his face. Did you see that? Kind of like his face glitched. And even more so here as he's applying that mask. And that is because he's using a real-time filter.
Did you see the glitch? So if those two videos were a little bit too fast for you to notice anything, why don't you watch this video of me putting Snow to the test. Here's a video of me from the app without any alterations. Just so you know, I feel like it did add some like lipstick or something. I couldn't figure out how to get rid of it, so just so you're aware, this might not be accurate in terms of like the redness of my lips. But the rest I didn't change. Then, using the app, I added a filter to make my nose slimmer, my lips bigger, and my eyes bigger. There are a ton of different options. You can change practically everything about your face. Obviously I look terrible, but it's just so that you can see how much you can change. Now I want you to see what happens when I put my hand in front of my face. It glitches. The fact is, this kind of software has been around for a while. Those Instagram filters that change the shape of your face and make you look like you have plastic surgery are just another example of how mainstream this software has become. If that's the kind of software that we have access to on our phones, imagine the software that's available to Hollywood. Films like The Irishman are a perfect example of how advanced video manipulation has become. The Irishman took a 76-year-old Robert De Niro and made him look no older than 30. Sure, there were moments where I was watching and I was like, oh, that looks so weird. Like it almost makes you uncomfortable because you know that Robert De Niro doesn't look like that. And you're seeing him on this big screen, you're like, something's off. What if I told you that this kind of video manipulation is being done on nearly every single commercial, every single movie, and every single TV show you watch featuring an A-list actor? The fact is, everyone, and I mean everyone, in Hollywood is altered, and it's been that way for more than a decade. I'm gonna tell you about a secret called beauty work. It's something that's done in the final stages of post-production after the production has already been filmed and edited. The process de-ages, slims, and enhances actors' faces and bodies. If you're an A-lister in Hollywood, after your project is filmed, you secretly go into offices around Hollywood, sometimes for entire days at a time, to sit in on retouching sessions to make sure every single frame of a TV show, film, or commercial looks absolutely picture perfect. There are even places where people with perfect bodies and faces go in, remove their clothes, and their entire body gets scanned as sort of like a template for future beauty work. This makes the beauty work appear more natural. Here's a list of the alterations beauty work is able to achieve. They can put makeup on you, they can make you look like you've had Botox or fillers, they can restore hair, like as in if you're like a man or a woman that has bald spots, or maybe your hairline is receding, that hair can be filled in. They can fix your teeth, they can make them whiter, they can fix your skin and tighten your pores, they can get rid of bags bags under your eyes from a night of partying? Ever notice that pimples are virtually non-existent on the big screen? That's not because A-listers have the best skin in the world, it's because they're being altered digitally. Hips are narrowed, calves are slimmed, belly fat is deleted, abs are made more pronounced. For the record, beauty work is done on both men and women, and sometimes even more on men. There are times when a film or TV show calls for manipulation. Maybe there's a flashback to a time when a character is much younger. Maybe they have to look much older at some point because that's part of the film. Like for example on Brad Pitt in Benjamin Button. That's the first time this technique made its debut. But a lot of the time, this is purely done for an actor's own vanity. According to Klaus Hansen, beauty work pioneer at Method Studios, nobody looks like what you see on TV and in the movies. Everybody is altered. But even to get a comment on their story, Mashable had a really hard time getting a hold of Klaus Hansen. Beauty work is very hush hush. No one wants to talk on record about it, because everyone signed an NDA. The process of course doesn't come cheap. Anywhere from $500 to $2,500 is spent on each digitally altered shot. Maybe even more. So the next time you go and see a movie or TV show, maybe you see a commercial with your favorite actor in it and you say, wow, they look amazing. I can't believe how great they look at their age. Don't be fooled, guys. You should always keep in mind that there's alteration going on. At the end of the day, influencers, celebrities, models, they're human, they have imperfections, but they sure as hell don't want you to know that.
A Japanese social media sensation was revealed to actually be a 50-year-old man back in March. He had been using a face app to alter his looks and ended up actually tricking thousands of followers. Although even after being exposed by Vice, his follower count has only shot up. Soya no Sohi, a young and beautiful Japanese motorcycle enthusiast, turned out to be a 50-year-old man using an app to transform himself. The real person behind the account is father of 3 and former competitive bodybuilder Yasuo Nakajima. Vice originally exposed him as being the ultimate catfish on the Japanese Monday Late Show once their production had caught up with him in person. He then would admit on live TV that he had been fooling people for months using this face app because he thought that no one would be interested in following a middle-aged man. Although this admission that he had adopted a persona, it stunned his fans and it actually helped his follower account. Nakajima tells the Washington Post, "When you're wrong, you tend to be scolded or criticized by older people who say you should do this or you should do that, but at this age there's no one around to really scold me. I'm having the best time of my life," adding, "The only thing I'm creating is basically my appearance, everything else is me." Nakajima has actually been riding and fixing motorcycles since he was a teenager, but in 2019 he was depressed about the lack of social media attention that he was getting. However, after watching his kids play with the Face app, it sparked the idea of using it to manipulate photos of himself and creating this brand new persona that he could vicariously live through. He even changed his Twitter handle and then began posting under this new name, gaining hundreds of followers. At the time of writing this, he currently has more than 29,000 followers, although he also told the Post that he isn't sure about how much longer that he wants to keep this up, saying, "In childhood a lot of us were told as a boy you should do this, as a girl you should do this, and I really dislike that," adding, "Unless you start you'll come to regret it. People will say I'll do this once things settle down or once everything is in place, but by the time everything is in place your life will end," which is a weird way to apologize for fraud essentially, but hey, who am I to judge? Even before this big reveal though, many users on Twitter had grown suspicious and pointed out some sketchy details in a photo that was meant to show off the back of a motorcycle, but it unfortunately also captured the reflection in the side mirror. And in that side mirror, you can also clearly see a man who looks nothing like the woman in charge of this account. But for some odd reason though, people are loving this plot twist. I guess it was just because it's harmless, you know, in its nature, and he's not really selling anything that I'm aware of to these followers, so it's not like he's defrauding them, other than, you know, just the fake imagery. But that being said, he did preemptively announce that he would be doing a face reveal, which had to be confusing for his followers, and even after finding out and or noticing small mistakes like the motorcycle side mirror, it seems as though his fans are still having fun with it. Someone who actually had zoomed in on his face on that side mirror wrote that he was using a cute phone case, which to me this just all seems pretty harmless, you know, other than the fact that it took Vice to get his big face reveal to happen.
Ah, influencers. Can't live with them. Can't live without. No, I think we could live without them. But hey, that doesn't mean I don't love some of them. To me, influencer is just another word for celebrity, because they're an internet celebrity, they're considered an influencer. But really, what's the difference? If an actor endorses a brand, they're still an actor, or a celebrity, I guess. But a YouTuber endorses a brand, and now they're an influencer. Aren't they doing the same thing? Who knows? What I do know is that influencers tend to catfish. I mean, in my world, it seems everyone does, but I'll save that for another time. Kicking us off at number 5, we got editing photos. This is probably the most obvious one on this list. How many influencers have been caught either photoshopping their waist, their tush, their abs, their face? I mean, the list goes on and on, but it seems some are even better or creative than others. The classic ones are, of course, editing a pimple out of a photo, maybe touching up the bags under their eyes. I do it all the time. Just kidding. Used to. However, some go as far as changing the sky in the background of the photo because apparently that matters to some people. And I'm not even shaming influencers. I get that it's a business and I'll always respect someone on their hustle, but at some point we gotta draw the line. Personally, I too think these standards for beauty, if you will, are a little ridiculous. And the fact that people feel they have to look this way or that way, especially when the people you look up to don't even look like that, well, it just makes everything seem to be very counterintuitive. Going back to the example of the influencer who changed the sky, Tupi Saravia, an influencer from Buenos Aires, Argentina, well, she actually went viral after she was exposed, for lack of a better word, for adding clouds to the background of her photos. It seems the first person to catch on was Twitter user Matt Navera, who is a social media commentator. Whatever that means. He tweeted out 4 of Savaria's photos and captioned his tweet, "This travel influencer spookily has the same clouds in every photo." However, it seems this isn't something that Tupi was trying to keep secret, and when she started going viral and getting a ton of media coverage, she really couldn't believe how blown out of proportion things got. She explained, I quote, "I can't believe how far this went. Actually, I'm the first one to tell the joke about the clouds that are following me around the world." She went on to explain that she only uses the app QuickShot when the sky in her photo is, as she put it, burned or overexposed. That's it. I've always been open to my followers about this kind of app. Now, as I said before, people editing their photos really isn't anything new. I mean, every tabloid you see on the shelf of your local grocery store is heavily photoshopped. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. And it seems Tupi wasn't shying away from her usage of the app, as she even posted a caption to one of her Instagram photos explaining, "There is a highlighted story on my feed where you can see how I edit my followers' pics changing the sky. If you need some, I could do a giveaway." However, not everyone thought this was a good move. Stephanie Van Hoyen, another travel influencer, explained, "Why would you go out and travel to see the world to subsequently edit what you see and recreate a false reality for fellow travelers? Traveling is all about seeing the world, the real world. I just don't appreciate the culture of fakeness. I wonder why the world isn't enough to show. Traveling is not all about glamour and beauty, cocktails at infinity pools, and coconut sunsets. Very often it's quite the opposite, and that's okay. To add entire new skies and or even landscapes, that's alright as long as you list it under #fantasy and not #travel. Don't send people to fake places." Now it's funny she actually says that because there is actually a location in Bali where influencers are always seen posing for photos. It's a popular tourist spot known as the Gates of Heaven, and it seems like there is a body of water giving a reflection right below where people usually stand. However, it turns out this is legitimately a photo op, as a man just sits on a stool and uses a mirror to create the illusion of a large body of water. Tourists line up for hours just to get their photo taken, and considering how you're only allowed to do 5 poses on the site, people could be seen in line practicing their poses. This usually includes the classic jump, the yogi pose, and sometimes even a proposal. Although I don't think people are really practicing that last one, unless they're really trying to get a good photo for the gram and stage a proposal just for likes and comments. Hey, speaking of staging a proposal for engagement, let's get on to number 4. At number 4, we got fake relationships or feuds. Influencers are usually entertainers as well, whether they be a TikTok star, a YouTuber, an Instagrammer. Whatever it is they do, odds are they're also in the business of entertainment. And as we know, the more someone talks about you or your brand, the more your value goes up. That's why Jake Paul is continuing to act the way he does. You may hate him, but he knows as he continues doing the stupid things he continues to do, we're all going to talk about how much of an idiot he is. At the end of the day, we're still talking about him, and that's all he cares about. And speaking of Jake Paul, he's actually been in both a fake relationship and a fake feud. What are the odds? I mean, everyone remembers when Tana and Jake got married and someone ran up to Tana and threw something on her as they were saying their vows. You guys probably saw the two also leave their own wedding separately, and Jake being seen with other girls, including exotic dancers, if you will. So people were kind of like, wait, so they just got married and left their wedding separately and Jake is already being unfaithful? Seems about right. However, it's not just fake relationships that get people talking, but fake feuds as well. And Jake has also been in his fair share of fake feuds. I think. Or maybe they were real. I'll be honest, I really don't even know anymore, guys. I can't keep up with this kid. Jake and Logan Paul once were feuding and made songs about each other, and Logan even featured Jake's ex-girlfriend in one of his music videos. But I mean, do we really think that would actually happen if they weren't all in on it? There was also the time FaZe Banks and Jake had a situation where FaZe was accused of assaulting one of Jake's friends or assistants, and they were going back and forth threatening legal action. Then they made up, but the Hollywood Fix caught them both on the streets of LA thinking that something was gonna go down. Turns out the two guys planned to fake a fight of sorts just to prank the Hollywood Fix, and they all got a good laugh out of it. But was the whole club assault thing real or not? Did they settle in court? With these YouTubers, you'll never really know. At number 3, photo ops. As I previously mentioned, people went to a location in Bali to take photos at a tourist attraction that wasn't what it was thought to be. Although it's still a nice tourist attraction, that body of water that gives an amazing reflection is actually non-existent. And it seems influencers have been called out in the past for their bull, especially during a lot of the BLM protests. Off the top of my head, I can think of 2 who got caught doing this, Madison Beer and Chris Schatzel, one being a singer and the other just being an influencer. Now, Beer actually denied that she staged anything, and literally said she refuses for it to be spun into something it's not. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't, who knows. I'm gonna take her word for it. She wasn't there just for photos. So she says, and I'll leave it at that. What I do know is that Schatzel fully went to a BLM protest for the sake of getting content for her Instagram page. Although a ton of influencers posted photos of them at a protest, I guess to show the world they're an ally maybe, Schatzel here legitimately just went to the protest to have a photo shoot and make it appear she's there for reasons she's not. The popular Instagram page Influencers in the Wild posted a video of Schatzel walking up to a photographer over and over again, grabbing her hair while holding a Black Lives Matter sign. It was quite evident she was just there for a Photoshop, and later admitted to it after she was called out by hundreds of people on social media. This led to her deleting her Twitter account altogether and making her Instagram page private. She would later take to her Instagram to explain, I quote, "This is a huge misunderstanding. Later I will explain everything and apologize. My intention was never to disrespect the movement, but to add to the movement the way that I know how. Peace." Of course, there was also the other influencer, Fiona Moriarty McLaughlin, who was filmed pretending to board up a storefront for a quick video before getting back into her Mercedes and driving off. Gotta love the honesty of the internet, am I right? At number 2, we got fake wealth. As they say, perception is reality, and as you can see by this list, if you take a photo of something, a lot of people are going to take it at face value. And unless you're exposed, well then no one is really going to know that you're not who you seem to be. Remember when Bow Wow posted a photo on his Instagram about to board a private jet? And then it turned out the image he used was actually from a website belonging to MIA VIP Transportation, a company based out of Florida, which is self-described as an executive transportation company. To make matters worse, someone also saw Bow Wow on their own commercial flight, moments after he posted the photo to Instagram. To no surprise, the photo went viral and even spawned the Bow Wow challenge, where people took side-by-side photos making fun of him. My favorite was the girl standing holding a pair of jeans, making it appear she's in a relationship. Absolute classic. There was also the guy who purposely proved a point by faking that he was a wealthy influencer. He took photos using a green screen and made it appear he was on a private jet. He also photoshopped shopping bags of luxurious brands in his hands, and even fooled some family members. To no surprise, this grew his account tenfold, and then he made a YouTube video talking about how he did it all and why he did it in the first place. It was pretty great. In at number 1, buying followers. It's an old move, but people still do it. For some reason, we think if someone has a large following, they're important. If people care about them or what they post, obviously they matter, right? This is where buying followers comes in. Although some also go for the angle of follow for follow, over the years I've realized none of it matters. At the end of the day, you just want good engagement. If you've got 100 followers and they all comment, like, and engage with your stuff, they're true fans or supporters and they really do support you. If you got 1 million followers and only 10 comment and engage with your content, then you're better off with just those 10. Now, some people do naturally just have bad engagement, or their stuff doesn't spark a response from real followers. But at the end of the day, what good is a big following if those following you don't actually care about anything you do, or in this case, post? At first, buying followers was a big thing, but now it seems enough people have caught on that it's not as popular as it used to be when social media first started to take over. And let me tell you, I've done it all, and at the end of the day, guys, realizing your worth on social media doesn't determine your value as a person is hands down the best way to go about living your life. Trust me on that one.